Hey people, it's been sitting down, kind of calming down, a little bit, just like taking a minute back to see what I gotta do to change. It normally starts like blank screens, or just there's just blank screens. So I just kind of look at some things that I think about changing for our YouTube channel, and one of the things I wanted you to know was that I was like, you can do you, do what your opinion is, and do it. Okay. But I have a little bit of a challenge for you, okay? You just hear me out on my challenge, all right? Hear me out on it, okay? You're going to be putting yourself into competition. You're gonna love your challenges, YouTubers. Like you're going to have challenges, right? And you're gonna go and do things, right? And maybe it's just not gonna go your way, okay? It's like Assassin's Creed may not go your way. Assassin's Creed Shadows, but that's kind of like something that I would not be surprised if it does not go your way, and because sometimes things just don't go the way. The reason I'm saying that is not me. It's just not what I want to do, or anything. I thought it was like a crazy part of a video to be like, okay, Mirage was there, okay. Assassin's Creed Odyssey had kind of a good system. So did Valhalla. So like I would not be shook about what I'm about to say to you, okay? So no matter what, I don't know how I feel about third person games, right? I don't know how I feel. But what I do know about third person video gaming is that it is very actually difficult if you want to make like a review on it, because I know you might be passionate about something. So making a review about something about a third person game, kind of something, in itself, right? Well, people are gonna go, they're gonna play the game, try to get to know the game, talk about the game, play the game, right? There's a reason. I'll say this: just don't think about it this way. This might be the one step where you're gonna have a moment of a change. It's a big game, big, massive third person, brand new video game, open world. And you might have a second opinion on this game. Okay? And there's a lot of reasons you might have a second opinion of this game, okay? Some things that I see that give me a second opinion of this game is just like, it sounds silly at first, but it is kind of crazy. Ico, I imagine Ico is kind of like a game. Is like when it came out. Like I imagine it as a game that had a lot of risks, had a lot of problems that had to get over. Had to get over Legend of Zelda. Had a lot of problems with it that I just felt like at the time it was going through quite a bit of hard things, and I never thought like like I thought to myself, like in a professional way, like it's not as impossible as people think it is, right? And I believe if ICO really wants to, the developers want to, they can put up a challenge. It can make a very cool third person puzzle game, right? So when I look at some kind of game I'm supposed to look at, I look at Assassin's Creed Shadows, okay? I'm just kind of curious, just a little bit curious. I'm actually kind of like observing just a bit, just to be like, um, okay. Third person's a really hard formula to go by. You're gonna do a different thing, It's a really hard, kind of difficult thing to do, and don't know. I don't know what to really tell you. I mean, like, could be that you want to take on certain things that are happening, right? It's hard to take on things that are really good. I just don't know if this is maybe this is the one time where you'd be like, I think you could look at some other games, look at another game. There's some other games you could look at. There's third person games and everything, but like, did this game put effort to me from what I see? Is it does look like it's not gonna give up, right? It looks like to me they're not trying to just be like, oh, here's another Assassin's Creed Mirage. Even though Assassin's Creed Mirage, it is controversial, and some people say that it might have a decent story, even if the gameplay is not what it needs to be, right? So it might have a decent story. But Assassin's Creed, I think the reason that people are getting so personal, right, is to just talk about video games or what your opinion is or what your thought is I think the reason that people have gotten personal with Assassin's Creed is, okay, Assassin's Creed to them was a game that they got into, okay? And it does not make sense to me at all because I've seen them get into it a lot. They've played all kinds of versions. They've even played the Nintendo DS Assassin's Creed. But Assassin's Creed is kind of like a game, like, you kind of expect it might have a failure somewhere. It's like a one-time combat system, so you kind of expect it may not do everything right. But I think the Japanese culture or understanding the culture of Japan is just wow. I don't know. You probably won't get Japan's culture right, but who really cares? You always get different perspectives of history and culture, don't you? You get a lot of that, so I mean, who cares? It's like story, it's fictional, It happens. Actually, Saints Row does a lot of crazy things. Oh my gosh, a ton of crazy things, but that's what people like about Saints Row. It does a lot of crazy things, but people like Saints Row. So, never got into the really deep, detailed, but Saints Row is Saints Row. It's just a Saints Row. Saints Row is like, carrying a kind of thing that goes on. And sometimes, Crackdown. There's things you just can't explain. And at first you're like, I don't know how I feel about Crackdown, but then later you go back and you play Crackdown. I like Crackdown.